Okay, so check it out. Biden, when he was president, he's not anymore for anybody that didn't know that. And the reason he's not president is because, well, he had that, in our eyes, a good debate against Trump last year. Um, I admit he was repetitive, kind of saying kind of some of the same things over and over and things like that. It's sort of like how Trump is today. But under Biden, people were angry because the price of food and things kept going up. So they were angry. Biden did this by letting all the people, they are people, letting the people into the country that were south of the border. So Republicans were angry over that. Democrats were angry over Biden's poor performance, and they said, and this is very socialist. This is very socialist. They said, you person managing the country are not doing a good job, so you have to leave. Get out of office. Do it now. And Biden was like, okay. And he said, you know what? I told you, Harris, you're going to be my VP because you trapped me during the primary. You trapped me. So you're my VP and you're going to be the nominee. So you're going to get your shot to be president. And she was, and people on both sides says, we are not voting for a black woman. That was just it. Harris had a lot of faults, but they didn't want her. So now we got Trump. And under Trump, well, if you're a Republican, the prices have gone down or they've gone up, but Democrats stopped crying about it. If you're a Democrat, you acknowledge it, you'll talk about it, you're not going to do anything about it. Most likely you can't do anything about it because corporations tell you to shut up and you have no choice because you got to pay your bills, right? So the idea is that Republicans are saying inflation and rising prices are good. Okay, fine. Rising prices are good. And I'm going to make an argument for that. And it's a bad one. But the argument why inflation is good, this is the argument, because I am the master guy at giving a monkey paw to somebody. You want what you want, you get it. You're screwed. You don't get what you want, you're unhappy, and you're screwed. That's it. So you get the rising prices, and this is why it's good, because see, when the prices go up, people in the lower class bracket of income can't really afford things too much. They just can't. They can't afford. They could barely make ends meet. So you just got to deal with it, right? You broke. You're minimum wage. You're under middle class. Even if you are in the upper lower class bracket of income, you're not going to do well anyway. So they don't get anything. They've got to save up. They got to buy only the essential stuff and hope that it can stretch another 2 weeks until they get paid. So you're going to out them kind of steadily for the next, I'm going to say 7 to 8 months. You're going to push them out to the point that they can't buy anything. Now, why is this good? Why is this good? Because this means the middle class people don't have to argue with lower class people over what they're going to buy. You don't have to worry about, the less privileged people coming in and gobbling up stuff for their family. So you can just walk cleanly and nicely through a grocery store and just pick what you want without worrying about it. They're not going to be there. Lower class people aren't going to be there. And yeah, if you look, just earlier this year, middle class was about $83,000 a year. By the time Christmas rolled around, middle class will be roughly about $87,000 a year. And it's going to be some thousands you got to tack on to someone's salary or wage. So when taxes come out, they're left with a few thousand instead of many thousand. That's how that works. So how is this also still good? Because middle class, they're going to get hit too, right? But middle class don't have to really worry about that type of stuff. However, the upper class, well, they got people buying stuff for them. They don't even know how to shop. They don't even know what that look like anymore. They don't. So the upper class can send people out, and when they come back, they hear less complaints about it being busy. There's less complaints about how much time it took to get it. There's less complaint about gas because of all the extra stops because people don't know how to get through a stoplight. Stuff like that. So this inflation is horrible if you're in the lower class area. And yeah, we are solidly lower class here, but the pinch is being felt and we're buying less. Companies know this is happening and they are not changing because they have to, no matter what, make sure you don't lose profit. So they'll fire people, they'll raise their prices. So long as their profits don't drop, they still look good amongst other companies because that's a club that you're not in. Just imagine if you and your neighbor was competing to see what tax bracket you're in. Imagine what you'll give up to make sure you break even, if not just a little bit better than your neighbor. Companies do that day in and day out. That's why they don't give too much of a living wage. That's why they try to argue for a minimum wage. That's why layoffs are like dusting a house for them. So all this inflation, don't worry, it's part of the plan. If you're lower class like us and you can't buy so much and the prices of meat, rice, eggs, and stuff like that are going up, it's all right. We're going to starve together. You're good. Solidly, we are there with you. So if you're middle class, you ain't got to worry about us being there. We don't have the money. We don't have the means. And you'll just look at us and say, bootstraps, man. And we'll be like, you're right. I don't know how you do that, but yeah. Maybe you could show us how to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. Clearly, you've done it. Maybe you could give us some tips. I guess you want to keep that to yourself because you do not need your neighbors competing with you. Thank you for listening.